Hi, it's Amelie. Today, for just practicing, we're going to do the 24th Caprice by Paganini. It's a piece written for violin, but I have a flute transcription here. And yeah, this is a live stream, so if you have any question, comments, you can leave them, and we will try to answer them right away. If they're not linked to this piece precisely, I might answer them more around the end of the live stream, but yeah, just leave your questions and comments. Good? Okay, let's start. I didn't play yet, so I'm gonna do a couple of notes. Yeah, so I tried to play a bit piano because
Okay. I think you're on now. Yep, you're on.
Hi, it's Amelie. So today for the live stream, just practicing, we are doing the 24th Caprice by Paganini. It's a flute transcription because it's originally written for violin, and if you have any question, comments, and since a live stream, just ask them and I'll try to answer them during the live stream right away. So I'm going to start with the theme, because it's a theme and variations. So the theme, I have 126 written here in my music, so I'll check what it's like.
Try again.
From the beginning again?
Yeah, no, just try.
Okay.
It's all good. We'll try.
I play? Okay. Technical problems here. Yeah, so it's piano and it's in the high register, so that's a bit difficult. It was written for violin. It's easier for a violin to do that in piano in the high register. I'll just practice it all slurred once. practice that, I try to do the second part twice when I practice, because it's a two-part thing. The first part you always play twice, so in the end, if you do that, you practice that part twice as much as the other one. And then after a while, because I've been looking at practicing that on and off for a couple of weeks maybe, and yeah, I noticed that the second part was a bit weaker than the first part of that theme, or all the variations are on the same pattern. So I try to work a little bit more on the second one. So just be careful of that. It's the same if you play a sonata and you have a ABA, like ABA form, and the A, you play it twice. So of course you're way more comfortable in that part, but then the B part, the middle, is weaker. So sometimes it's good to just identify those things. Okay. So the second one is forte. So okay. There's quite a bit there. So you have to use triple tonguing there because it's too fast to go tia ta 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 tia, I think. Wait. I prefer triple. So takata takata. We have a video about double and triple tonguing. Now I'll do the second part. So like the high note is almost like an echo of the first note when you go ta-yam. And for the low C, I would advise to kind of anticipate that pinky going on the low C. And you can slow down a bit at the end. Okay, so this one was forte, and you have accents, so try to really exaggerate that. Let's do the second variation. So like this, you could practice all slurred. Like for the first variation, you could practice it all slurred. You could practice it with the triple tonguing. Instead of, so all slurred would go. Then you could do to practice your triple tonguing. You could change the rhythm. Same in the first, in the theme. You could change the rhythm and practice. You know, you can here you could do long, short, short in the first variation. And yeah. So changing the rhythm, all those things. You can also start by not doing the grace notes and add them when you're more comfortable. I tend to advise that for my students. So you just learn it like this. Okay, I cracked a little bit, doesn't matter. You get the sense of what I mean. And then once you're comfortable with it, you add it. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's always the same chords that come back. You have A minor, E major, A minor again, E major again. And then when you get to the second part, you have A major, D minor, G major, C major. Then you have, it's G sharp diminished seventh, and then A minor again, then E major 7, and then A minor. It's always the same progression, always, because he just makes a variation with the rhythms, and but the chords always stays the same. Okay, variation 2. So in this one, you could start without the grace note at first. You could go. Okay. Here you have a B flat and then a B natural. So personally, I don't like doing the thumb thing here when that happens. So I'll just use the long form B flat. just leave it on the little spatula here, because it doesn't change the sound when you go. And then you remove it for the A, so you're ready for the B natural. Okay, then the second part. Maybe I can do it a bit more piano. I'll try. Okay, you see here the first part was better than the second, so I would have to practice the second part a bit more. Okay. I like doing that. You do one beat plus one note. Then you can do two beats plus one note. You know, and then you go slow, fast, you push yourself. Like I could try to do a bit faster, but just one beat. That was 160. Then I'll go to 92. And then I'll do this real tempo and see if it helped. Yeah, I think it's always in the same spot that I kind of slow down. Yeah, so sometimes I write it down or I circle those little parts, like that bar. I would do it as a technical exercise or try to play it every day. Sometimes just saying for a little part that's a bit difficult, you play it non-stop for a minute and it does wonders. Like after a week of doing just 1 minute a day of that one bar, it's pretty efficient. So you don't need to practice everything exactly the same amount of time. You can really focus on the tough parts. Okay, now it's piano again, variation 3. I'll try with the metronome, just because this one I have a tendency to feel it slower. I think that's too fast. I like it a bit slower. Wait. Okay, I have to go crescendo and then come back. I'll just circle that note. So I have to put a bit more attention on this one. That's nice. So that's very good for your octaves here. And the real important note is the high note. It's not, it's really, so you go towards the high note all the time. Is there any question?
Well, everything's good right now.
Cool.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah.
I always find it hard to have constant airflow. What am I doing wrong?
You stop blowing between notes probably, maybe when you're thinking about moving your, I don't know your level, but what I see sometimes in beginners, when they move their fingers, it takes them so much mental energy that they stop blowing because they can't blow and think at the same time. So sometimes what I ask them to do is just move their fingers, like practice the piece without blowing, just like that, and then play it again. And maybe practice something that's very easy for you, let's say a scale that you know very well, and play it all legato, and then keep the same support and add the tongue, but don't change anything in the way you blow. That could help. If not, maybe you don't have enough air because you don't breathe enough. Try to open your thorax, not just use the belly, but really use the whole body, you know, except the legs. You don't need them to breathe, but you know, really fill it up, and then use the muscles all around, like it's as if you have a belt here, and it's breathing in 3D. You don't breathe just in front. You really use the whole 3D. So I hope that helps. Just keep us informed. Okay, cool. Now I'm at variation 4. Okay, that's not very clean. I'll practice it all tongued. No. Yeah, I think that it helps when it's not clear to tongue every note, because it gives it more precise, because you have to coordinate with the tongue and the fingers.
Low to high fast like that.
I use the air speed, so I blow more slow air and then more fast air in the high register. So so I use the support, the height of my support. I think it's an image, but it's like it's lower when I'm in the low notes and higher in the high notes. So, and also there's something going on here, like with the soft palate that's going up when you go high, to use your head voice. So yeah, and there's a slight angle change in the airstream, but that's so tiny. There's not such a big movement here with the mouth. Do I continue? Okay. Okay, I'll try it with the metronome. I'm not there yet. second part again. I'm not with the metronome at all. Okay. Oh yeah, I'll try that. A bit faster, but just one beat at a time. Okay.
Somebody wants to know two questions. How does the B foot joint work, and how do you keep harmonics clean without having to constantly find the note?
Okay. The B foot works, well, like the C foot, you just have to go one little spatula further down, and then it presses down the B key here. So instead of 2, it presses 3. So you have C sharp, C, and then B. So it's not more complicated than that.
You have to have a B foot to have that.
Yeah, you have to have a B foot to have that. And then how I get harmonics. I'm not playing harmonics per se, because I'm playing the real fingerings. But I understand what you mean. You mean the high notes, I guess, because they're more tricky notes. So how I play them, what was the question again?
How do you keep harmonics clean without having to constantly find the note?
Okay, well, I've seen in students sometimes in beginners, people have a difficulty to know which octave they're playing, but that goes with the ear training in a bit. But while you play, you're training your ear. Just be careful, like do sound exercises so your brain remembers where you are. Are you playing the first G, the second G, the third G? And then I think it's an ear question, and maybe when you play something, listen to versions of it so you know what you're looking for, and it's going to help you to self-regulate, because if you don't have someone to say, hey, you didn't play the right octave here, or if you know the piece, it might be easier if you're self-teaching. Anyways, musicians were always a little bit self-teaching, because it's not as if we were practicing with our teacher all the time. So the most amount of time we play by ourselves without someone teaching us. So we're all self-teaching. We're all our own coaches in a way. Yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah. Do you have any advice on how to get better in general?
Practice with self-awareness. Not self-consciousness, but self-awareness. Like, try to be aware of what's going on. And having a good teacher helps a lot. Because a good teacher is supposed to make you more self-aware. More, If you have moments where you say, oh, it's true that I do this, but not in a way that you feel guilty about it or anything. Just, oh, yeah, I hear it now. Or I see it now, And that could be, I think that's the best way to learn. Because you can practice a lot in the wrong way and then just make your mistakes even stronger. And you don't want that. It's not just about how much you practice, but how well you practice. And also, a good teacher is supposed to give you things that are in your proximal zone of development, which means hard enough that it's a challenge, but not too hard that it discourages you, or that you can't even do it and you're not learning anything from it. But if you find good methods, that can also help, because it's supposed to be progressive, and then you also have something that's in your proximal zone of development. Yeah.
Cool. Can I buy a foot joint alone? Can you buy a B foot joint alone? Yeah.
I think you can. Yeah, you can.
Contact the Flute Center of New York.
Yeah, contact the Flute Center of New York. if you want to buy just the foot joint, I think maybe it goes by brand, so it really fits together. The barrels, you know, and
the price can vary.
Yeah, the price can vary. And yeah, if you contact the Flute Center of New York, you can call them, or you can go on their website, flutesforsale.com. It's the number 4, flutes, number 4, sale.com. And you can use our code TFC when you buy from them. It gives you perks and it helps us out. So thanks to everyone who uses it. So do I continue?
Sure, keep going.
Okay, cool. I'll do that second part again. Yeah, I'll do one beat plus one note a bit faster. Oh yeah, and I did it just before I was asked the question, and I realized that I thought I had a finger problem, but no, I was just not supporting well enough, so some notes were not coming out, then it was bugging me, and it was making another problem with my fingers. No. I like to change the articulations when I practice. It's a bit like, when you practice Stefanel and Gobert, the technical book, exercise book, they give you a lot of different articulations to practice, and I feel that it's fun to switch it up, switch it around when I practice. Okay, I'll try it the real way. It kind of worked. In real life, I wouldn't have a metronome, so I can make some notes a bit longer, some notes a bit, you know. Wait. Wait. There's something here that's making me... Yeah.
Grace says that you're a very good flutist.
Thanks. Thanks, Grace. Someone was asking like the best way to get better and all that stuff, and knowing what harmonic you're playing. And it made me think, this week I was reading a book about neuroscience and music, and it said that the best way to learn music, the fastest way, is by imitation. So if you have a teacher who plays well, sometimes just asking your teacher to play and then you repeat. I do that a lot with my students. I play a bar, they repeat the bar, or I play 2 bars, or I play a line, and then they repeat after me. And that's very efficient, so you should try that out. Or listen to recordings and try to imitate if you don't have a teacher. I'll see here, it's a bit slower in my... That's fast. I'll do the second part.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Anna. Okay, so here you have the low note. That's very important. What's important here is it's almost 2 instruments. So you have that instrument and then the other instrument goes. Oh, it's and the rest is just the how do you say, like ornaments almost, you know? Wait. So it's a high note in the tia tia. That's important.
Casey, hi, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas. Okay, so variation 6. So you see here, forte, crescendo, you have forzando, so really accentuated. And you can start practicing without the in French it's called mordant. You know that little sign here that means it's like a trill, but you just do one shot, you know, like BCB. That's it. You don't go like a trill would be like this. But that is just okay. So start by practicing. And then you can add the tonguing. And then music there's a mistake. They wrote an F at the end and it's clearly an A. Maybe that's a bit slow though. A bit more nervous, yeah. That F a bit shorter. No. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's nervous, you know. Variation 7. That's piano and light. Leggero means light. So okay, so they want the upbeats to be accentuated. Okay, I'll try that again. Oh my God. Okay, I'll try it with the metronome. Okay, I see. So really, it should sound like this. It's almost like that same little trill that we had before, you know? Maybe think it like a trill, almost like and you just accentuate the first of the group of 3. And that's the second part. Okay, clearly I would still have to practice it, but kind of we get it, you know? I think we get it. It's, think of it as an ornament and not as a, it's not, it's, but then faster. Good. Okay, that's a bit faster. 126. Oh, per eight note. Yeah, because that would be pretty fast. Okay, let's try. Oh my god. Okay, let's see that bar. Okay. Then second part. Wait. That bar, I'll circle it and I'll go back to it and I'll practice it 1 minute a day because it's a tough one. So. Okay, now I continue because this one too. Okay. No, it's a G. Okay. Okay. So you know that the bass note is the guide of that. So it's really that would be the skeleton, and the rest is little ornaments, really. Oh, it's a G. I always think it's the way it's written. It's tough to read. Okay, so I know what I would have to practice there, and I would do it like. You see, I played the notes on the beats, then I played the notes, one note on two. That helps because you can see the structure, and once you understand the structure and you group elements, it's way easier than if you learn every note separately. I could still practice that a lot, but you can't practice all of it at once, so I'm gonna go to the next one, so I still have energy to get until the end, get to the end. So variation 9. Okay, yeah, I'll just write one note that I had an hesitation on, and I'll do it with the metronome. I'll practice it once, all slurred, and I'm not doing the repeat because I'm just practicing it. And then I'll play. Not bad. So I like practicing those types of things slurred because you have to really get the note without stopping, and yeah, it's good to just switch things around. Okay, variation 10. So, okay, I'll do the repeat for this one because you have to do the first forte and the second piano. Whoops. Just once. Okay. Not bad. Of course, like if I'm playing it in concert or something like that, I'm gonna practice it and record myself and then listen to myself with a little pencil and write things in my music saying, oh, maybe that note should be longer, maybe I should vibrate here. You know, it's really inspiring. Like I get a lot of ideas when I listen after, and I'm like, because we don't hear ourselves the same when we just have that to do, we're just listening, and when we're playing at the same time and focused on different things. But still, it's a good thing to practice our awareness while we're practicing, but it's all going together, because if you do it and you notice things afterwards, you'll be like, it might be even more efficient than someone else telling you, oh, you do this. If you hear it, let's say you hear a certain thing you do with your tonguing or your vibrato, it will be more efficient when you are conscious of it than someone else telling you if you didn't really feel it yourself. Okay, last variation, the number 11. I'll do it slowly once. Okay, so this one is 126 but per 8 note. So it looks intimidating because there's all these 30-second notes, but it's not faster than the other ones before, really. Yeah. Second part. practice it just one beat plus one note very fast. Yeah, you see at the end you have you change the key. You go from A minor to A major, but like 2 bars before that, you can feel that it's coming, you know. Anyways, as I said, you get A major chords a lot in the second parts. You see here at the end it's chromatic scales, so you don't have to overthink it, you know. I'm gonna play it once a bit slower than the real tempo, but as written. Whoop. Second part. There's a little in between sound. And then I'm going to play it a bit more free. It's a bit tough to go back to the E when you have the... You go from the high A, so I'll have to focus on that. And, you know, that's just a way to practice. In real life, you wouldn't practice that metronomically. You know, play it like that. And when you play a long piece like that, don't always start from the beginning. Sometimes start from the end, because you don't want your end to be weak compared to your beginning. Because, like, let's say now I'm not as focused as I was maybe when I started practicing. So sometimes I start with the end of the piece. Yeah. And also listen to versions, see what people are doing, listen to yourself, all that. Okay, let's do it.
We should make our own arrangements of that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the flutetunes one is really is very sloppy.
Okay, that's not the Flute
No,
Tunes
this
one.
that's another one.
That's, I think, yeah.
It's another one.
Yeah. Wait. still have to work on that. But yeah, it's a cool little piece. Yeah, we should do our own arrangement of that. That would be cool. Our own transcription, really. Yeah. I would like to see the real violin part and go through it and see, like, maybe there's decisions that things that I would do differently, you know? Yeah. Was there any other question?
What do we got here? Can you do a video about jet whistle? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jet whistling. It's only done in a few pieces.
Yeah.
So what was the question? And then what else? What did it say here? How do you play? Oh, we already did that. And we already did that. Okay. Well, yeah. People can answer questions now if they want. I didn't see any.
So while we're waiting to see if there's more questions, I can say if you're interested in taking lessons with me or with Nicolas, you can email us at info@theflutechannel.com and we'll send you all the details. And also we'll do a flute con online this summer, probably in August. You can go and sign up to have all the information at flutecon.com. Flutecon.com. Very easy. And then what else? If you want to help us on Patreon, being a member of Patreon or one of our members, it gives you access to our live version of the podcast where you can ask questions live and all that stuff. And also it helps us out a lot. And there's other things that you can get. Go and check it out. There's different tiers with different perks.
Yeah, we answer questions there priority.
Yeah, and we also answer questions of our Patreon patrons. They have a priority, you know, throughout the week. And I talked about the Flute Center of New York before. So if you're looking for a flute, you can check them out at flutesforsale.com. It's the number 4. And our code is TFC. It gives you perks and it helps us out as well.
Yeah, and our store too.
Oh yeah, if you're interested in some merch, there's our store. You can check it out in the description. And we have a poster, we have mugs, we have t-shirts. The poster has the fingerings and the scales, and it's pretty popular. So,
do you have tips? Flute-head and violin bow, maybe repeat the question, said, do you have tips for bad embouchure days?
Tips for bad embouchure days. Maybe don't overthink it. Yeah, sometimes we have a bad sound day. Don't panic. If your sound is usually good and one day it's not good, don't panic. Maybe if it's really bugging you, practice like this for a while. You know, and then go back to playing. Or, yeah, because sometimes when we start panicking, we make things worse. We become tensed. So, yeah, and do harmonics. Sing in your flute. Those types of things will help you a lot. Singing in the flute, doing harmonics, playing piano, and staying calm about it, you know? And check in the mirror. And also sometimes, maybe go look at yourself in the mirror and try to make your sound even worse and see what you're doing. Maybe you're doing something and you'll be like, oh, that's what's happening here. And then you just reverse engineer it and do the opposite.
Is there a reason why bad embouchure days exist?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't think there's been scientific studies about that. Do you know why bad embouchure days? I don't know. Sometimes when you don't practice regularly, it happens. But sometimes I don't practice. I take on my flute, it sounds good. And sometimes I practice the day before and it doesn't, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel it's a bit of over-analysis on our own part.
Yeah. Sometimes it's over-analysis.
I think it's a good thing, but I think it's a good thing. Because then our ears are constantly looking for a better sound. It's a good thing.
I think also that our ears should always evolve a bit faster than our technique and our capacities. Because if we're satisfied with what we have, then why practice, you know? Like, we're not going to evolve. So if we're always looking for something better, it's a good sign.
Je ne parle pas très bien anglais, donc je préfère en anglais. Combien vas-tu mettre dans la flûte qui ton...
Okay, what's a good budget for a flute?
Yeah. Sorry.
I can't really answer that for anyone else, you
Yeah.
know. It's
We have a lot of videos that talk about that.
yeah, you know, figure out your own budget.
Yeah.
But now there's good flutes for pretty much every budget, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But try
But-
whatever within your own budget. Like if you can only afford 1,000 or
Yeah.
500 or whatever.
Yeah. You can find stuff. Like, of course, like if you put a bit more, you might have a better flute, and then after a while, the return on investment lowers, you know. You pay a lot for a tiny difference. But yeah, I think I've tried $3,000 flutes that were pretty good.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
And there's a lot that were lower too. And also just a well-regulated flute can help too.
Yeah,
One
it's
that
all
can be
about
well-regulated.
if your flute is in good shape, you know, if it
It can be repaired.
yeah, a flute that can be repaired, a flute that yeah, if a good technician can look at it, sometimes you think it's the flute doesn't sound good, but if you bring it to a good technician and they make it seal well and all that stuff, it's sometimes it's enough, and you might be very happy with that. Anything else?
Yep. How can I help my low notes and in volume? Oh, what can I do to help my low notes be more loud, I guess?
Okay, louder low notes. Okay, don't cover too much, because I see people doing that. You know, they try to go low and they lower their head because they imagine the low note being low. But you have to keep always the same. If you lower your head, you have to lower everything together. You don't go like this and then cover the whole of your flute. That's the first mistake that I see. Then open in the back, open the mouth. Like, I mean, like as if you had an egg in your mouth or something, and blow warm, slow air, and just let it resonate. Don't try to force too much. Like, and use your nose, like nyeh, that type of nyeh. Make it resonate in your nose in the low notes. Because it's not just a question of decibels, but a question of timbre. So if you give it a more nyeh, nyeh, nyeh type of timbre, it's going to give it an idea that it's louder compared to a more wider timbre that's more. You see? Okay?
Yeah.
Any more?
Also, what do you think about La Frec for the flute? We tried Woodify.
I never tried La Frec, so I don't know.
But we've tried
I've
Woodify.
Yeah, we tried Woodify.
Same tech, really.
Yeah, it's similar, and
yeah, we don't. Yeah.
we don't know because
don't
we
know.
tried with the. It's not a. It's I don't know.
Indifferent.
Yeah.
Indifferent. Yeah. And that's it, really. What else we got here? Nope. I don't think we have any more questions. We have one more, but it's about a flute. Basically, another flute question. Like, you've never tried this flute, the Pearl Elegante. You've never tried it, so you don't know much about it.
No, I've tried pearls and they were good. You
Yeah.
know, I've tried good like. Yeah, there's a lot of good flutes out there. It's about trying them and seeing what fits you, what makes you sound the best, you know? And it's not just a question of price either. Some people prefer silver over gold, even though it's cheaper, you know? Like me.
Oh, is it? I always wanted to know from you. Is it best to do concert band or minor in music in university or college? I would say do concert band. And if you can do 1 or 2 courses in music, a minor is like 6 courses or whatever.
Okay, a minor or concert band.
You know, like in university,
Okay.
like you'll have a major
But you
in
can't
something else.
you can't do both.
Oh, why not do both? Maybe they can.
Maybe you can do both.
Yeah.
Because you get all the theory and stuff like that, and your training, and then you also get to play in the band. I don't know if you can do both, but it all depends on your goals with music, you know? I guess it's all a question of assessing your goals and your interests. And yeah, maybe imagine yourself in both situations and see where you get the, you know? Like, sometimes I do that. I close my eyes, I'm like, okay, I'm in this situation. How do I feel? Okay, now I'm in this situation. How do I feel? And then I pick the one where I feel the best in my imagination.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So hopefully that helps. And that's it. Cool. You want to see?
Well, I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and see you next time. Thanks for watching.